ban, and Scruffy with the Priest ban. Now that's a cloning gallery Priest.
That is.
Banned.
Bet you're sad about that. I know you like to cast the slightly off the wall decks, although I don't think we counted it off the wall anymore, given it won the last tour stop. But
It's like half on a wall now.
He's looking sharp. He's giving Derek Fresh Dude Brown a run for his money. And so we are going into this game number 1, Dan.
Derek is a fresh dude, though.
He really is. Cora's contribution to esports.
It's a good contribution.
Hunter versus Mali Druid. We've seen this a few times. Swamp King Dread. Haven't seen that for a little while. It was teched in quite a lot a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then sort of went missing.
It's charged Devil Saw more than anything at the moment, but it's a card that makes a lot of sense in this deck. Firstly, if you slam it on turn 7 between a Highmane and a Katharina, that seems good. Or between a Mossy Horror and a Katharina, whatever, you know, it fits right before that key turn.
Yeah, I think Raven talks a lot about, because he plays some Hunter from time to time, Raven being a Hunter's biggest fan. I think he talks a lot about how turn 7 for Hunters can be very problematic, and Swamp King Dread kind of fills that as well as anything.
Is that laughter just the I don't have wild growth on 2 laughter?
I think so. But wait until turn 4, Sunshine. Look at all these things I have.
Point nourish, ultimate infestation.
He is going to have a decision on 4 actually as to whether to just go for Twig and just get that going ready for very early UI Twig break.
And then there's a lot to factor into that decision as well, because he might decide he wants to coin Nourish Tyrant on turn 4. Wow, he's actually going to coin out that Twig, get it going immediately.
Yeah, I mean, you get to 10 mana so quickly this way just as its own form of ramp. The problem is these nourishes you don't want to draw cards from, because you want to get them out your hand for your UI. So you're going to ramp with those as well from turn 5. So he is going to have the option to use this Twig at any point, though, from very early on in the game. Just checking Faeli's decks here to see if there's any weapon removal. There is an ooze in the deck, so you might as well get going with that Twig and just get it over with.
Sure.
And that way you're guaranteed the ramp from it and the usage from it.
The problem is it's led to quite a bad turn here, having to use the swipe and weapon down the Devil. So I guess it's not appalling, but...
Yeah, but your Twig's already on 3, so you'll get... It's the old investment that Wild Growth was supposed to be, like you miss a turn in response for getting a lot more mana.
That's true, that's true.
Wild Growth seems to not function like that, because there's so many good 4-drops for Druid that Wild Growth doesn't necessarily mean you miss a turn anymore.
They're fairly going to play the most aggressive game that he possibly can. Flanking Strike is like, I love seeing that play. Something about it, I don't know. He was so powerful, even though it's not actually any better than a Terra Scale Stalker. Yeah,
you're right, they just feel incredibly strong when you do it. Scruffy not messing around here as well. He's playing really quickly. Okay, so...
Nelly might draw a card at some point. There we go, okay.
Yeah, just a little wait for his card there. 19 health already. And yeah, Faeli's just going to point at the face.
Next turn he can drop Dread. Turn 8 he can drop Katharina. Chances are he gets King Crush from that, otherwise he gets Grizzly, that's fine too. Spider
Bomb's decision here because it's a lot better against Malfurion, against the 1/5s made, but a lot worse against the Spreading Plague, so... But decision made. Not tough when your opponent's on 8, you just say, okay, if they've got it, they've got it.
Quite a nice little clear available for Scruffy if he wants to play the swipe, trade into the Devil Saw, swipe the 3/3, weapon down the Spider Bomb. Or some combination like that.
Uh-huh. This Dread's going to be good, though. It's going to get eaten by Alexstrasza if you like, but then Katharina's just going to do her thing.
Scruffy is on 6 health. 6 health already.
Yeah.
Wait, when did... I feel like I blinked and Scruffy lost.
5/5s and 3/3s do a lot of damage very quickly. Spend so much time in Hearthstone with little guys trading or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, when someone hits you with a couple of 5s and 3s, suddenly, yeah, the health just escapes.
Okay, this is pretty interesting now, because so Faeli's drawn King Crush, which means Katharina's only giving him Witchwood Grizzly. Scruffy can consider playing Alexstrasza, hitting him with the weapon, and then playing Ultimate Infestation, or even Ultimate Infestation, then hit him with the weapon, and then play whatever he draws.
And this is all the way back to turn 3 this investment was made.
I think he's played both swipes already, so This dread is awkward. He needs to naturalize.
For the wilds.
Ugh.
I bring you.
Wow.
Okay.
It worked out. The twig is gone, but it worked out.
It's done its job to some large degree here. And Faeli's actually pretty low on cards. Obviously, Katharina soon solves that issue. Scruffy certainly not out of the woods yet. But, I mean, branching paths and spreading plagues buy you a lot of health and a lot of time. You only get 3 cards, so 4 if you count Katharina as an extra card. And Faeli's running out of things to threaten with. It's nice to have this many choices. Do I want to gain 24 armor? Do I want to draw 4 cards? Do I want to blow up my opponent's stuff? Should I draw some more cards? Gain some armor, some more armor. It's more than 24, you can gain a billion armor.
It's a lot of armor.
That'd take a long time to kill with a King Crusher with a billion.
For someone that was just down to like 1 or 2 health,
Yeah.
Scruffy's looking like he's in a reasonable position at the moment. It was at the cost of his twig, though.
Yeah, he's not dead anytime soon, but he's not winning anytime soon, most likely either. And I've changed my mind.
Well, now he's...
But those swipes have gone, so he's still got to manipulate his way to winning the game.
It's just Moonfires. He doesn't have the mana to play his Florist now. Malygos plus Flute might be able to win without the Florist, but it would take several turns. There's a Naturalize.
Scary business giving a Naturalize to a Hunter when it's down to 3 cards. You've kind of done the hard work getting rid of the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, being able to sink in that damage, setting up for the Malygos next turn. One more Moonfire, and then that'll be lethal.
And Faeli's, yeah. If you hadn't got the King Crush in hand here, this would be so easy. You've got cubes and play deads and all sorts of
Oh my goodness, it would just be lethal, probably.
terrifying things going on. But because he has got that King Crush, I think that's what the sigh was about. It's like, the cards didn't come in the order I wanted at all.
So does he have to use the King Crush maybe to trade, use Katharina to trade, and then plan on cubing it next turn if it survives?
He's got to be deeply suspicious of the whole thing. Your opponent's just naturalize and hit you in the face.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't feel too great about that.
Setting aside the not winning the game immediately part of this turn, it's a very powerful turn.
Yeah, I'm beating you next turn. Very much so.
Unless there's a Spreading Plague.
Yeah, okay. If you're spreading plague in, you're probably not killing me next turn.
That's true.
And I'll just kill your stuff and we'll do it all again.
But Scruffy can even play around the Mossy Horror here by going Spreading Plague, Branching Paths for attack.
Yeah.
Like you said, though, it's not ideal because Faeli still just clears everything and has lethal set up for the following turn. That's a lot of Katharinas. That's a lot of beasts.
But Scruffy is just one naturalize or second naturalize away from just winning the game. With the Malygos. Oh, he's got the Moonfire away as well, okay. This is one of the most obnoxious plays in Hearthstone.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Spreading plague on a full board into branching paths.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's coming, but it's still horrendously obnoxious.
Remember when starting Buzzard and Unleash the Hound used to be the...
I do.
The powerful punishing play for having a wide board?
Yeah.
Well, Hounds. Meet Spreading Plague.
Yeah. Poor doggies.
Scruffy doesn't have a second Spreading Plague to fall back on. All he needs to do is draw Moonfire, and he just wins the game outright, though.
Yep.
Can't stress that enough. Faeli has to deal with the whole board.
Yeah, I mean, Spellstone is pretty terrifying as well. So if Faeli doesn't deal with it, bad things happen. 1
Spellstone plus Malygos plus Moonfire is 6 damage to the face still, plus any minions on the board get to trade.
However,
that's a big old beast.
Mr. Crush is crushing.
Okay, Moonfire for lethal, Spreading Plague to survive. He gets the Moonfire. That's all he needs. He just about got there. A little modest nod from Faeli. But he's been had.
Scruffy got him. Faeli got there twice. Once there at the end within one turn of lethal, and also in the mid game where he just got Scruffy down to 6 health really quickly. But again, Scruffy he gave up on the, I don't know what word to use there. He gave up on the option to have the double nourish so that he could get the very early twig. You're going to take a lot of damage if you do that.
Yeah.
You know, the payoff did come at the end where he gets the early 10 mana. You're allowed to have that comeback when you've made that investment in your twig.
Yeah.
That's the payoff.
He had dug through a lot of his deck. You know, the chances of getting the Moonfire weren't that slim. He had used up both swipes, so Moonfire was the only direct damage. It's what he needed, and he got there.
Scruffy looking a lot more confident than he did in Tour as well. He was quite nervous in that top 16, rightly so. But yeah, a lot more comfortable now, I think. You get that feeling of belonging when you've been to a final or two, I think. And Faeli, like you say he's confident. I think he's even beyond confident. He's just now just doing what he does.
He's at that point that the Hearthstone pro players get to, where he's just chilling.
Like Muzzy, especially Say, and those guys, they just look like they're sitting there doing their job.
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Kind of like us. We're just chilling.
Yeah. Having some fun, watching some Hearthstone.
It's all right. Can't complain. As we jump in to game number 2.
So yeah, queuing up the even lock, no surprise there.
Even lock with Demonic Project in it. That's quite interesting.
Faeli does like to bring a bit of this and a bit of that in his decks. He doesn't usually go crazy, but he is one of those players, sort of along the lines of Impact, where he'll bring the lineup he thinks he should bring, but he's not scared to have a bit of weirdness thrown in there.
Mulliganing it away because he wants the powerful start, rewarded by drawing.
That's a powerful start.
No wild growth again for Scruffy. Didn't matter too much in the last game.
Yeah, he's going to get hit quite hard in this game.
Does have one naturalize as well, but that's not going to deal with both Drakes, a Giant, and then later on a 4-mana 7/7.
Yep, Faeli does have the Geist and the Black Knight, but you don't mess around waiting for Geists. You just get those Giants on the board. That's a lot of 4-drops.
Scruffy hero power passes again. No twig to coin out this turn. No coin, even if he did have the twig. No nourish. No second.
No
nourish.
health in a minute.
No ultimate infestation. Yeah, he's big smirk, shaking his head. There's Giant.
I'll play this one, I guess.
I'm loving watching these little interactions between the players.
Yeah, they know each other really well, obviously.
Yeah.
Been to a lot of tournaments together. We've said that about so many players. It's probably getting boring, but a lot of these players have spent a year living Hearthstone with each other.
It's less often than you'd think, though, that the players get to actually compete while sitting face to face.
Right.
I do love watching tournaments where that is the case. It's just fascinating to see how they react to each other.
Yeah, it definitely adds a certain something. When you see the tournaments of 2 people sat in different rooms or whatever.
So many possibilities.
It's definitely more fun when they can, especially when they know each other well.
Yeah, or when one of the players is Pavel and is just staring down his opponent.
Yeah, just stare back. Make him rope and miss his turn. So Faeli not sure which of these amazingly powerful monsters to drop on the board.
So
What do you like, Lorinda? You like a Drake?
I mean,
or
I
you
can
like
see
a
the
Giant?
hand, so I like the Giant. But I think the Drake is probably the fair test first.
Yeah.
It was the perennial question in Handlock, wasn't it? Like, which one do you play first?
Yeah. I mean, next turn he can go Giant Sun Fury Protector, which, if even necessary, maybe it's not, but...
Yeah, and then you have to choose whether you just Sun Fury the 4/10, you mean, and leave the Giant.
Yeah.
So you can just have free reign to do some facing.
He has a second Sun Fury. There's no reason to hold one back. There's a Naturalize. Okay. Can't coin it out this turn.
I've got a Tyrant, that'll help.
Have my 0-mana 4/4 Twilight Drake. Eat it.
Alex Strauss is good. 9 mana, give your opponent a 7/7. Yeah, he's going to taunt them both.
Okay. Second Naturalize will be played, I would imagine, this turn. As long as Scruffy can possibly fit it in. Needs to play around Skulking Geist.
And the difference here to the Hunter game is he's still on 33. He's going to need it because, as you can see, it's the Onslaught is not stopping anytime soon, but he has got that.
So he can branching pass for armor twice, Spellstone down the Twilight Drake and naturalize the Giant. That's reasonable. Given that we're going in to the Skulking Geist turn, now is the time to play these one.
If this is reasonable, I wouldn't want to see what's unreasonable. Yeah, Faeli agrees with me. Like, that is in no way reasonable in any world.
Okay, that's fair.
I knew what you meant. It's okay. Well, Faeli's going to play his 4th 4-drop.
Now another card Faeli needs to consider playing around is the Black Knight. Wait, what am I talking about? That's in his hand.
That's fine, yeah. He plays around his own card because you can see his hand.
Somehow saw that in Scruffy's hand for a second for some reason.
I feel like Scruffy's playing a little bit quickly as well. Not that he's had particularly tough decisions, just... I always like that. I always like to see the players taking their time. I think the Black Knight here...
It's fine.
It's fine. Just looking... There is one MC tech in Scruffy's deck for Faeli to worry about.
I mean, Black Knight's only going to be better after a Spreading Plague, right? And after a Spreading Plague, you're probably playing around, or not playing around Mind Control tech anyway.
It's just a case of whether he wants to put more than one minion on the board so that he lowers the impact of the Mind Control tech if it's there.
Oh, there's the Geist. Spellstone has control, but it's only one Spellstone it's going to be gobbling up.
Yeah, it's like, why did I put this in my deck? All my things are dead.
It's not even that he drew it late, it's that Scruffy managed to play all of the 1-mana spells early.
None.
The only problem I find with the Black Knight here is that it only allows Faeli to push forward 2 damage to the face.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but if there was an MC tech here and it did take the Twilight Drake, that would be a disaster for Faeli.
I think he's in the position now, though, with his opponent on 46 and both of his Giants committed to the bin, that he's got to sort of make something happen or lose. You know, we saw the game earlier where we were talking about not playing around Psychic Scream because they've got it, you lose. This is Faeli's version of that. It's just like, okay, I'm just not going to play around stuff now.
There it is.
And there's that.
You play it, right?
Well, I think you do, but the question is, do you want to go next turn Spreading Plague, MC Tech, and have that massive swing turn?
Sure,
that's the temptation. Because you're only eating 12, it's not the end of the world. And you could end up with a 2-minion swing next turn.
Tangled web.
Engaging TC 130 until
Okay, he got the worst target left.
Yeah, this is kind of
Turn is
the
not.
punish. I don't think punish isn't the right word because it's not necessarily the wrong play, but this is the downside. Now you've only got Spreading Plague for 1 next turn and you've got 2 garbage minions on the board. Whereas the other way, you're Spreading Plague for 4, then suddenly you've got 5, 6 minions and your opponent has 3.
The problem is half the time this was really good.
Yeah, I
takes,
don't think it's wrong. It's just
if it takes the Drake, if it takes the Black Knight even, then it's fine.
Many
Yeah.
possibilities.
did you need to?
Good question.
I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking you.
I don't know the answer. Ask the players.
Well, Scruffy thinks you needed to.
Faeli, he's not so sure.
Yeah, Faeli's sort of... I think he's having a moment to get a grip again now. Like, every good card has been sort of thrown at each other in this game. And the longer that happens, obviously, the more it favours Scruffy tiptoeing towards Malygos shenanigans.
Yep.
Almost out of time.
Then again, it is Faeli that has board control at the moment. There's the Malygos.
He could just die at any time now, though. Floop's in hand, of course, as well.
Yeah, so all Scruffy needs is a swipe. And that is just lethal.
Yeah.
In 2 turns, obviously. He has to Malygos first, and then
Yeah.
Floop, swipe, Moonfire. For exactly 21 damage. So Scruffy needs to play a strange game now. He needs to survive, and he needs to make Faeli believe that he's safe and that he doesn't need to heal up anymore.
Yeah, and this Alexstrasza is a bit of a clue as to what his hand is, because his hand is full of things that... This is like a holding turn. He hasn't done that for the 6 damage. He doesn't really want Faeli to have a 7/7 if he can help it. But he's got nothing else to do. He won't know the exact cards in hand, but he'll have a feel for the texture of the hand. Yeah, Faeli's not messing around. He's just going to gain health and kill things.
Scruffy's not under any immediate pressure anyway at the moment, though. If he was to draw the swipe, he could just play Malygos this turn and plan to win next turn.
But he is... the clock is now ticking with that 7/7. He's used... he's lost all of his 1-drops to the ones he hasn't used anyway with the guys, so... things are now a lot harder to deal with than they were a few turns ago.
Starting his turn by gaining armor with the Ferocious House seems fine. See what he draws and then make a decision from there.
Yeah, like you say, he's not under any immediate danger, but there's 15 out there now. There's a Lich King backing up next turn. There's only one MC Tech. It's gone.
I was just going to say, how crazy would it be to just play Malygos here? Because that Floop only changes from Malygos if Scruffy chooses to play another minion.
Sure.
So he can just not play any minions he draws and just wait until he draws Swipe and then go Malygos, Moonfire, Swipe. However, Faeli does have a Spellstone in hand. He does have the Shroom Brewer in hand, so he can heal up to what, 26 right now, and then more if he upgrades the Spellstone. He's got Gul'dan in hand now, for goodness sake.
So Faeli thinks he's dead, and this is where being a pro really kicks in. It's like, okay, if I'm not dead by some weird circumstance, because maybe Scruffy's a card short, which he is, which card can I beat, and what do I do about it?
So many possibilities.
So he's aware of the Floop now. He knows that's there.
Yeah.
He's terrified of Moonfire, Swipe, because that would be bad. So we'll see him play around all those options, I guess.
He's not gaining any health.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. If Swipe is drawn off the top here...
He's just saying, I don't think you've got it all.
Okay.
And again, I suspect I might be wrong on this, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if he playtests with Scruffy.
Okay.
So there's a chance he's got to read based on not just what we can see, but maybe he knows Scruffy's style of playing this deck as well.
Scruffy going to start by just digging deeper, saying to Faeli, yes, you're right, I haven't got it all.
Yeah, very glimmer of a smile just twitched across Faeli's face there for a second. It's like, yeah, I read this one. We'll have both swipes gone. That's a possibility as well. I don't think so, though.
No, last game.
That was last game,
Last game, they were both played very quickly. This game, I don't believe we've seen either of them. There were no swipes to deal with any giants or anything.
So now you've ridden your luck, and now you don't want... You know he's close-ish, or he doesn't play the Malygos like that.
Does that mean Faeli now feels safe, though, to continue not healing?
Oh, I know what Faeli was playing around there. He was scared of just the swipe.
Okay.
So he was scared of flooped Malygos into swipe clearing his board.
Oh,
so that's why he traded so much stuff away.
Okay.
So he played around that particular setup.
10 cards, and Scruffy gets 2 chances thanks to the Wild Growth. He does have the mana to go Malygos, Wild Growth, excess mana, swipe, Moonfire. He can do that.
I think Faeli, now he's established some sort of decent board, will maybe gain some of that health. He can't ride his luck forever.
Okay, yeah. It puts him to 22, which is not quite lethal with the swipe. Okay, it's 1 off, I think. Isn't it? Yeah, it's 12 plus 9.
Yeah, it's 21, yeah.
But swipe would still clear the board.
It would.
So if he gets
it would be lethal. Because he could swing.
If I'm remembering correctly, there are still 2 swipes in this deck.
I mean, Scruffy's playing as if there it is.
Finally gets one.
So next turn, if there is a next turn...
Now he just plagues. And says, please don't go down.
Yeah.
Please.
Got a feeling he might end up being disappointed on this one.
Malygos swipe will still clear the board, though. I remember Faeli's running Demonic Project, and he threw it away in the Mulligan. He'd love to have Demonic Project. That's something Scruffy's not necessarily been playing around. When he first played that Malygos...
Right, that could have just been the end.
Leaving just Floop as the only card in
Turn your Floop into... not Floop.
Yeah, that would have just been the game.
That's how I describe demons these days. They're not Floop.
But demons aren't Floop, it's true.
Not usually.
Floop is not a demon.
Usually.
He might
He's a
act
dragon
like
at the
one.
moment.
Yeah.
I don't think demons really like being called floop. It sounds kind of insulting. Okay, 27. And rising.
Second Spreading Plague is more time if that's what Scruffy wants, but no, he's going to clear the board. I should imagine he sinks in the Moonfire damage while he can.
Yeah.
There's no reason to hold on to it. He can hero power as well. He's shaking his head though, it's so close, but not quite there.
Yeah, and Faeli has held on to this Spellstone forever.
Yeah.
Well, that's been in his hand for the longest time.
Spellstone plus hero power clears away most of this board. With the help of the Defile, it clears away everything.
And Scruffy doesn't look like a man who thinks he's winning, despite that health totals trying to say opposites.
My hunger grows.
Yeah, with 2 health, Gul'dan, I imagine you are pretty hungry. Time to get chomping on some souls.
Just trying to work out if the Spellstone actually got buffed at any point.
The one on the left did.
It did, that's what I thought. But
So many bloody decisions.
I believe it's the 5 damage Spellstone. Yeah, this clears the
yeah,
board.
it's a 5. Now he's limped up to 8.
I think the 7 damage one's more yellowy.
Oh, you can read, I just couldn't see the words. Like, it actually says greater, so it's definitely the 5.
I look at the pictures.
I don't understand pictures.
There's the second swipe, so we're right, they were both in the deck the whole time. Oh, imagine if there was a second Innovate then, just to win the game.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to have to be swipe hero power, and as we can see, as long as that Spellstone is cast this turn, Faeli's very safe.
Yeah, very's a good way of putting it. Not. Well, yeah, very's a tenuous way of putting it, but he's safe and should get safer, so yeah. I'll go with that description, just teasing there.
I mean, what are we looking at? Most damage, ultimate infestation, and then swipe the following turn. That's... Dream Metal Florist does nothing here. Okay, the weapon plus the hero power can deal with the minion. He can then swipe face as well and UI the next turn. It's just not enough damage.
Faeli must just feel great right now, like well, he will do in about 3 turns' time. He's ridden through this storm all the way through, and he's taken some chances to get there. He could have just panicked when the Malygos was played, burned the Spellstone, then he would actually have died eventually to the Malygos that he couldn't deal with.
This is Scruffy's final push, you know, like fatigue setting in. He only has 9 burst damage from the hand, and also obviously elephant in the room. If he does somehow get lethal with ultimate infestation, it kills both of them. It's a tie. So, and I don't think that's going to happen anyway.
I haven't seen it in a tournament yet. It's going to happen at some point.
Faeli's just about managed to get there.
Yeah, and it is really tight. I mean, he is absolutely out of stuff.
Yeah. Both of the players are, really. To be fair, though, Army of the Dead is pretty great in Even Warlock. It's one of the few archetypes where you really do want that Death Knight spell.
Yeah, normally. And there we go. Scruffy gives it up. Faeli gets it back to 1 game apiece. And yeah, he's pleased with himself, and I don't blame him. I'd be pleased if I was him at this point.
Yeah, me too. But he's managed to even the score. It's 1-1. He gets to continue playing Even Warlock, which is still, regardless of whether you look at it as an aggressive deck or a control deck, it is one of the most powerful decks in Hearthstone and has been since the expansion came out.
Yeah, I think Sho was the first player to really popularize the deck as well. Right. But yeah, because Sho doesn't go to that many tournaments, it wasn't taken maybe as serious as it should have been, even though Sho's a terrific player. But he was the first one to really start massacring people on ladder with it. So
if you are Scruffy, what do you take down this Even Warlock with? You have Odd Paladin or you have Shudderwock Shaman. He's answered the question for you. It's the Shudderwock Shaman.
Yeah, the Odd Paladin is perceived as awful against the Warlock. I'm not actually sure it's as bad as people think, but I don't know how bad people think it is. It's like, It's not that bad. Obviously, people draw attention to the Hellfires and the Defiles, and they're right to do that. Paladin can kind of, you know, just keep going at you, threatening to level up and stuff. But yeah, I prefer this choice. What
I will say is that Earthshocks are very good against Twilight Drakes, as they have been since the beginning of time in Hearthstone.
It's almost like they were built for that exact job.
Glacial Shards are pretty good at slowing down Giants. Hex is there. Volcano can be a ward clear against even Warlock, depending on how wide they go. The Shadowwalk Shaman definitely has a good shot here.
Yeah. Faeli setting out his game plan there. Just pause for a moment to say, am I going to go, you know, Swampoos into 4-drops, into stuff? But no. Going for the play that we all know and love. Go for the big hit with a Giant.
Giant on 4. It's not Giant on 3, though, is it?
No. And this fits in so much better in the curve.
There's the walk.
There is.
Scruffy going to just try and keep that Manatide Totem alive, milk the value out of it. Glacial Shard also potentially trades into the next turn.
Yeah, you get scared playing the second Manatide, because then you do get into that weird territory where your opponent can consider just leaving them both up for the whole game. And then nasty things happen, especially for your Scintillol.
Your magic shall not save me.
Huh. Okay, this is cool. I was just wondering why he didn't defreeze his 3-2 and trade in, but he wants to keep all the health on the board for Volcanoes.
Okay.
Because the more natural players to kill things for no damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's keeping all that there for the Volcano to make sure that Scruffy's 0-3s protect his minions. Protect Faeli's minions. He's going to shut down the other one. Yeah, you can see that these two know each other really well. There's a lot of camaraderie in the body language.
And again, leaving both Manatides alive. As you said, it does significantly weaken those Volcanoes.
I mean, there's, what, 13 health on board already, and no one's got a relevant card on the board.
What to do?
Scruffy has drawn Shadowwalk. He's not drawn Sour Knight or Grumble. They are the key cards that he will be looking for if he wants to try and start winning that game come turn 9. And now it's tricky. He's not even going to hit the face with the Glacial Shard because he doesn't want Faeli to end up with 15 health. He doesn't want Faeli playing 4-mana 7/7s.
Yeah.
He had to play the life. He had to damage Faeli to play the Life Drinker.
Is that the new version of Priests don't like 4 attack minions? We seem to have said that a heck of a lot this season.
Don't attack the Warlock. Don't reduce him to 15 health, you mean?
Yeah. So Faeli did get to the point where he was so far along defending himself that he might as well play the Geist before the Giants and the Twilight Drakes. He's not really interrupted what he's doing for that. The interruptions have been put in there by Scruffy.
Second Storm, okay. He can now play this Fast Sight and still play the Lightning Storm if he wants to this turn. So
Generate 1 mystery card for the rest of the game.
Zola's not bad either.
It's a good mystery card.
Zola can now be played with Shadowwalk on turn 9 to guarantee that it procs.
Always tasty.
Even if Grumble's not been played, he might be tempted to just go ahead and do this.
What, with the Nils Mana Zola being a
just
big
play it
deal?
on turn 9, freeze some of Faeli's minions, play the Life Drinker out. He'll want to at least draw 1 Sour Knight first, so he gets some board presence with it. But it's certainly worth considering.
Yeah, what do you do here? Yeah, that's...
I think he has to Storm, but I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, I feel like that's the argument going on in his head here.
A good Storm would clear the board comfortably here. A bad Storm would not allow him to clear the board.
Oh, he doesn't know whether to go face first either. He's just ending the turn. He's like, I don't even know. Double Giant. And hope they don't have MC Text. That's always a... Yeah. That, Faeli, that.
Double Giant looks so strong until you think about MC Tech.
I mean, there are options where you just trade in one of your Spellbreakers into a Life Drink and just play 1 Giant, hit face for 8.
Yep.
That seems like a perfectly functional Hearthstone turn.
The other thing to consider is that if Faeli did just play Double Giant and not trade anything in, Scruffy could go MC Tech, Zola, MC Tech.
That'd hurt.
I wonder.
And you've got to think, can I win if I don't Double Giant? Like, how much time does Scruffy have here? How much time does he need? Oof. Okay, so he's going to sort of split the difference.
Okay, so this double MC Tech is risky.
Does he have a non-risky play that works?
He'd also have to trade in one of his minions and not kill off an enemy minion because he needs to make space on his own board. I think just one MC tech is enough for this turn, and
Engaging TC
Just come here, giant. Come here, little giant.
no, missed it. He's going to have to healing rain to survive.
Yeah, they're definitely having a lot of fun with this.
Even with the healing rain, does he survive? He ends up on 22. There's 16 damage on the board and Bone Mare in Faeli's hand. It's close.
It is.
I wonder.
He's gonna get the glacial shard.
He can freeze the giant and still healing rain. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Well, Faeli knows this is a mystery card.
So many options available to Scruffy this turn. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot he's just thinking about there. Like, you could have not traded before playing the MC tech, see what you got, and then traded after if it was bad, but it was more likely to be bad that way, for instance.
Yeah.
And also Scruffy's like, well, if you got Hellfire, I just lost this Hearthstone game. Which is why he's putting that into the Twilight Drake, amongst other reasons, as the face. You don't go face because of 7/7s, but also you don't just leave it there because of Hellfire.
Does Scruffy lose if Hellfire gets played? If Hellfire gets played, he can Volcano. He's got Lightning Storm for 0 mana as well.
Sure, so you pass your turn back to them and then they go, giant thing,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder.
Good point.
So he wouldn't have lost as such, but it would have been a bit messy. By a bit, I mean really messy. But you know, he is establishing his own board that can win on a re-swing here.
Okay. So the good news is that Scruffy has plenty of ways to now start clearing the board. The bad news is that he's going to have a lot of overload.
Yeah, and Faeli will take advantage of that. If there's overload going into turn 9, then all the stuff, the Glacial Shards, the MC Techs on the Shudderwock.
This is the kind of game where Scruffy is going to want to play Shudderwock as soon as he can.
Yeah, it's going to be Panic Shudderwock.
Yeah, it's going to be Shudderwock, let's freeze some minions, let's steal a minion.
Zola a minion.
Zola something, yeah.
Yeah. But he's not going to be able to because he's got to do this horrific-looking double storm.
God, there's mana-tide totems on the board are so annoying.
Yeah, and that goes all the way back to where Faeli could have killed it on turn 4 with his own Spellbreaker, unfreezing his minion and then trading in. And it's like, no, I want those there for later.
I don't know if one Volcano is going to be enough from Scruffy next turn. It should
But
be.
look at Faeli's health total. It might not matter. Scruffy's trying to kill him. It's a bit of a bluff. Bluffy Scruffy.
I like it.
Oh my goodness.
He's not playing it this turn.
He might.
He's not playing that this turn.
Because reason... Oh, you can play it next turn anyway if he wants.
I mean, this turn he's just trying not to die, I think.
But I think he can do that relatively easily. Like Giant, Sun Fury. It's not that easy. You've got to make sure you heal a bit as well.
Imagine if you played Demonic Project and turned the Shudderwock into a Doom Guard. Like, there are potential issues with this. I think the Hooked Reaver is a pretty solid bet this turn. And Shroom Brewer's, given that he's got 2 of them, is worth considering as well. Maybe he doesn't even need to heal. Maybe he just plays the Giant and the Hooked Reaver.
Yeah, he'd like to tap as well to draw them, but he can't. It blows up his cards and it just doesn't work very well. But mana-wise, he'd like to tap.
Yep, starts with the Reaver. Nope, starts with... Okay, Giant Reaver. He does go with the...
Power play.
I don't want to call this a risky play, but it's not the over-safe play.
But because of all the overload, it's kind of safe.
Yeah.
And now, as it turns out, it's worked out beautifully for him.
I think what's key is that Hex wouldn't be lethal, so... Nor would Earthshock.
Yeah, there were very few, if any, lethals now. I hesitate to say there were none because it looks a bit messy. But yeah, Demonic Projecting your opponent into a Doom Guard was one way of losing.
Ooh, okay.
Now he's overloaded again, so he can't Shuttlewalk next turn either.
But he has managed to clear away his own Mana-Tide totems.
Yeah.
So good job, Scruffy. That was a weak Volcano if I ever saw one. And it had to be.
And now are you scared of the second one?
Second Volcano?
Faeli's... seen a lot of failure. This expression sort of thinks, I've got to assume you haven't got it, but I think he's aware there could be a second volcano, quite likely here. Still not projecting because he doesn't need to yet. He's going to leave it as long as possible until Scruffy actually has.
Bye-bye Shadowwalk. Both players finding it hysterical. This is the second Shadowwalk that we've seen dispatched before it's been played.
Halfing's about as bad as it gets as well, right?
Earlier on, there was a Shadowwalk milled because the hand was too full.
Oh, is that Maeve, right?
That's
she lost
right.
hers.
That's
She nearly won that game anyway.
She did. She did almost win. But now, yeah, the Shadowwalk turned into a Howl Fiend.
Scruffy not even able, because of the high health totals, to play his Acolyte and draw cards from the volcano. Having to do it the caster's nightmare way round, which is like, we don't get to meme about drawing 3 cards. It's always bad. At least Scruffy won't have much trouble with a discard from the Howl Fiend.
It's fine, Lorinda, it's fine. Scruffy just plays Hagatha, gets Discover, a Battlecry minion, discovers a Shadowwalk and wins the game that way. Easy.
Can't discard cards if I ain't got none.
Yeah? Okay, I think Scruffy's waving goodbye to this game now. Not even playing into the mind control tech.
Wow. This is one way to preserve the game for half a turn extra. It's the old Unity. You finish it off, chap.
They're playing on because they're enjoying playing on the new game board.
Oh, yeah. Hadn't noticed.
Derek didn't notice either. You two are terrible.
We are really bad at that sort of thing. Looks really nice, actually.
Very bright, isn't it? Colourful.
It is. As is fitting to the expansion. We've had fairly sort of darkish, by Hearthstone terms, things recently.
Which would...
Dr. Boom was kind of taking place in the Nether as well, so I think it's good to have a nice bright expansion.
Kobolds and catacombs. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Again, by Hearthstone standards. Because even the darkest of expansions is always hilarious to me. Like, Knights of the Frozen Throne was probably the darkest in theory, or Whispers of the Own Gods, and they were both just great fun.
Yeah. All right, Miracle Hagatha spells. Let's go. Tidal Surge isn't the worst one to start with. Clears a minion, puts Scruffy back at 18.
The game is so much easier when you haven't got to worry about Shudderwalk possibilities. Oddly enough.
Oh, it's easier because it looks like Scruffy should just lose by most
Yeah, lose by force.
Just doesn't have the Shadowwalk anymore. Unless...
So Faeli checked himself there. It's a common mistake that people make when they've got a hand that's a bit garbage, and then you pick up a good card, and you just want to insta-play it. But he just caught himself doing that and slowed himself down. Thought, no, you know what? I prefer this line. Save my Lich King for next turn. I can clear everything up, do it this way. It seems much cleaner. Why give my opponent some sort of MC tech out? Because what could this card have been in Scruffy's hand? It's been there for...
Okay.
Nearly got him.
I just almost had a heart attack there. We're fine. Ravencaller's great, though. Ravencaller's great. It's 3 more spells from Hagatha.
Okay. And he's going to go for it.
It's on the slow side, but it's better than the other 2.
Everything's on the slow side when you're 11, but you're right. It's actually the only one that can win him the game. Just do all that again.
Now if he does somehow get Shadowwalk, that could be quite enough.
Nah, he's had enough of this, I think.
Oh, it's because he knows there's lethal.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Faeli takes his 2nd win in a row with the even Warlock. Scruffy losing the counter pick. He's now only got Odd Paladin left, and that's not any Paladin against any Control Warlock. Specifically Odd Paladin against Control Warlock. It's not a position that you want to be stuck in.
It is not fun at all. Like I said earlier, it's not... You can definitely win this with a Paladin. I know we always make this point about favoured doesn't mean you've won, but I want to make it especially clear with this matchup because obviously we all know that because of the removal spells in the Warlock deck, the Paladin does struggle. But there are games where you just don't draw those cards, and actually in the games where you don't draw those cards, the Paladin puts a lot of pressure on. And I'd be tempted to keep this Vine Cleaver. I think it's too slow. But you can do... Oh, okay, this is fine as well. Yeah, you can't keep both. So
this is the alternative,
fine.
isn't it? Yeah.
Go for the early 1-drops and then draw a load of cards and the Vine Cleaver will be in there somewhere. This is fine.
Faeli keeping his giant, hoping to get a defile. Oh, there you go. Those Vine Cleavers wouldn't be doing much anyway.
And the reason this hand is probably a lot better than it looks, if you've not played this matchup much for whatever reason, if you've been, I don't know where you've been, this is going to sort of challenge Faeli to clear multiple boards. And the Corridor Creeper is going to be a nuisance. Now the Vine Cleaver's been drawn, that's going to set up a chance for level up.
Yep.
You don't have to kill them instantly to win this matchup, you just have to kill them. You do actually have more time than you think, because the Warlock has to find time to actually get its minions on the board to kill you with.
Yeah.
It wants to Hellfire, it wants to Defile, but it needs to kill you, otherwise you're going to do it all again.
Wow.
Yeah, Scruffy not messing around here. It's like, okay.
It's the earliest Divine Favor I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is what I mean about not killing them straight away. It's like, now I'm going to try and kill you with all this stuff I got. And yeah, I don't think I've seen Divine Favor before. And Faeli doing what I was talking about, making sure he's set up that when he does clear the board, he can win the game. And now it's decision time for Scruffy.
This is not an easy decision to make either. He made it very quickly. But there you go.
He's been playing very quickly all game.
Clears the minion, sets himself up with the 2-mana Corridor Creeper, which I'm sure will soon become 0.
Yeah, and again, going back to what I've been saying, like, Scruffy aware that Faeli can't kill him if he's just clearing board after board. He's got, actually got to have a threat there. So Scruffy's like, well, I can make another board. You can only make one more giant in the whole game. I can make many of these boards. Must emphasize it's not favor for the Paladin, but this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to keep Faeli from being able to kill him, because it's actually a bigger deal than you feel. It is hard for the Warlock to kill you. It's very easy for the Warlock to stay alive.
Scruffy is a good Hearthstone player. He will have decided that this is the best strategy to try and beat the Even Warlock. It's just draw as many cards as you can and then just start winning with them.
Yeah, there's a sort of time slot where you have to win, somewhere between turn 6 and 10.
Okay.
You'd like to get your level up on some stuff, and in this case, because he's got the Vine Cleaver, he's going to level up on the stuff the Vine Cleaver makes.
So
that's his plan.
Between turn 6 and turn 10, essentially the Vine Cleaver turns then. Like
that's kind of where I was going with that, yeah. Basically, you worded it so much better than me. And again, just not letting Faeli have any fight back mechanisms. You're going to kill my stuff, I'm going to make more stuff. And I really like this approach.
Trading everything, but yeah, it seems to be paying off. There is a Hellfire for Faeli, but that's the only removal at the moment.
Yeah, there's the Coin Dread Infernal's kind of cute as well.
That's better, actually. That's pretty good.
That does all the things we've been talking about. Gets rid of stuff and makes a stuff.
Upgrades the Spellstone as well.
Is a stuff a word?
It can be.
Thank you, I'll use it again then. So Scruffy, just to point out here, he's not trying to outvalue Faeli for the whole game. He's just trying to sort of keep up with him in value in these turns where you can just lose if you go crazy as a Paladin.
Right. Because he has to contest with things like that Mountain Giant, like this 6/6 as well. He doesn't want Faeli to have a backswing that's so solid that he just wins the game outright on turn 5, turn 6.
The temptation is to ignore the Giant and hit him in the face, but actually you can see what can Faeli do? Well, he can Hellfire once, make some pretty pathetic looking minions, and Scruffy's going to have a lot of dudes on the board to level up soon. Trying to work out if he needs to protect it now or later, but if you're thinking of leveling up, then the taunt sort of just becomes lost anyway. Probably in the jungle somewhere.
Suddenly this Hellfire's not looking quite as picture perfect as it was before. It clears away the 3 minions on the right, but needs help to deal with the minions on the left.
Yeah. Yeah, this opening hand has made this a very interesting Hearthstone game.
And he just doesn't look very happy at all.
Does he look unhappy though? Because I think Faeli never looks anything. He's kind of hard to describe as a...
I think he looks a little frustrated.
All right, I can go with a little frustrated.
Players seem to have stopped laughing with each other now.
Yeah, this is an intense game.
They're down to business.
So it feels like this is Vine Cleaver time to start setting up chances of level up victories.
I agree. It also slams 4 damage to the face. Says, hey, remove this, clear my board, and also don't let me kill you.
So he's shown all game so far that all he wants to do is kill minions, but now he feels, okay, next turn I get at least 4 3/3s. Now's the time to apply the damage.
There's a lot that Faeli has to think about here. He wants to be clearing the board, clearing the weapon, and healing himself, playing around Leroy Jenkins' Blessing of Might. Like, there's...
Playing around Owl level up if he goes for 7/7, which he hasn't got, luckily for him. Yeah.
So Faeli has to work very, very hard on this board. If he can maybe play the Ooze and taunt up, or play the second Ooze and taunt up both minions, maybe that's the best way he's got of doing this. If he had one more mana and could fit in the Spellstone as well, that would be perfect. But he can't, so maybe he just has to Spellstone and Ooze. Okay.
Oof. Oh, he didn't Sun Fury the other Ooze, so...
Yeah, he did.
That's...
Oh, sorry.
But that's just lethal. Just Owl into level up is going to be 2 games apiece unless I can't count.
Nope, you are completely right. That is that.
That is a beautifully played game there by Scruffy.
Or this works too.
I don't often sort of stick my neck on the line and say how great something is, but I really liked how he played this, killing off the giant early on, killing off all the minions that could threaten to fight back. Faeli had that Hellfire in his hand forever, and Scruffy didn't give him a chance to get anything useful out of it, and then just waited, keeping the Divine Favor made all that difference. I loved that game of Hearthstone.
I can tell you 100% certainty I wouldn't have played that like Scruffy did, and I think most of you guys watching back home also wouldn't have played that like Scruffy did. That Divine Favor on turn 3, doing like, who would think that your best turn as the aggressive deck against the control deck is actually don't put any more stuff on the board, restock your hand, set up for the late game. Like, that's just genius.
Yeah, I really liked it. And again, it's all about knowing the opponent's trying to establish that giant, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to let you. Not keeping the Divine Cleaver in the opening hand because he's keeping the Divine Favor. He knows he's probably going to draw into one. Lovely.
All right, so odd versus even Paladin.
So I think originally, when we very first saw this matchup, we felt that the even Paladin was favoured and were told that it wasn't.
Yes.
But I do now believe that the even Paladin is favoured in this personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that then?
Because I win when I play against odd Paladin with it.
Fair enough.
Because, and it's close, I think, but you just have enough little tricks and big enough minions to hold them off long enough. That little bit of health gain means that if you do stabilise, you get out of range quite quickly, and you can match their late game with your late game. As I just check the exact build. So no Tyrion.
That's right. No Tyrion, Lich King. It tops out at Lich King, 1 Avenging Wrath.
Only 1 Avenging Wrath, okay.
2 copies of Corpse Taker and the Glass Knight.
It's a combination of the taunts and the health gain that if I had to put my finger on it would be... and you kind of keep up, you do get behind on dudes, but only a little bit.
The weird thing is about the odd Paladin is it's not a deck that necessarily tries to kill you immediately. Like you said, it wins the game, but sometimes somewhere between turn 6 and turn 10.
Yeah.
But it's around about that point that Faeli could go Crystal Smith Kangor, Spikeridge Steed.
Yeah.
And then how
if that gets Owl, then you just go Corpse Taker. It's only a 3/3 with Divine Shield. It's probably enough. Or they just somewhere there's a Consecration weaved in, and eventually Pyromancer equality. Yep. And their hero power doesn't run away with it because yours kind of keeps it under control. Because you're doing other things as well. Obviously, it erases it really, really, really badly. But the fact you're doing a 1-drop, so you're killing one of their guys and making a real minion.
I mean,
but by no means is it a certainty. I mean, you can just smash them.
It's difficult as well. Like, Faeli has to make the tough decision here. Does he play Pyromancer, Koinamani, Berserker? Just get the most powerful play onto the board this turn as he can. I don't think he does. I think that Pyromancer is too important. He needs to be clearing the board immediately before a level up. But as he has 2 of them, maybe this is the play. He goes with it.
Yeah, it's a battle for making enough things with 3 or more health to keep the dudes under control. And he's almost won that battle. He hasn't quite, because Corridor Creeper is a massive nuisance when it's behind a Righteous Protector. Gives you a lot of trading advantage. I mean, Faeli still has Equality Consecration or Equality Pyro for later as well.
Reporting for duty.
And Scruffy can't kill a Lich King. He can owl it to stop the damage from the cards. But if the board's clear going into that turn, it gets really hard for him.
Let's see Raider.
I was just making sure that my glasses were actually on the right way around.
It's even pirate powered. No, it's not. It's not. It's just the one.
This is a card that people always consider when they start playing a certain number of weapons.
There are 3 weapons.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But it's a deck that can afford to run a lot of 2-drops, and I guess it's better than other 2-drops. He's running it instead of this Vicious Scalehide.
A lot of the time it comes down to feel. You'll play a lot of games with a deck like this before you decide your final build, and there'll be multiple choices. Like, for instance, personally, I like the second Avenging Wrath, but maybe he's felt that if he draws 2, one of them just sits in his hand forever. I feel like he does 16 damage.
It very much depends on the matchup you want with it.
Of course.
Vicious Scalehide would be better in this matchup than Bloodsail Raider.
Yeah.
Obviously. Pyromancer Equality and Equality Consecration available. Faeli has time, but he needs to draw his good stuff. He needs Saranites, Corpse Takers.
And he needs to get rid of stuff before that thing does its thing next turn.
To battle!
Sorry, before Sunkeeper Tarim turns all these minions into 3/3s. Excuse my professionalism
Well,
here.
I mean, even after that, like, Faeli can still clear the board and then know that Sunkeeper Tarim's gone. It's not the worst thing in the world if Tarim comes down and buffs up the board.
Did Scruffy just trade off his dudes there in an attempt to say, I haven't got level up, don't worry about my board?
That's smart.
I don't know if that's
really smart.
why he did it, but that's how it felt. It's like, nothing to see here. Don't clear this board. It's fine.
Faeli's not going to fall for it. He's going to just go ahead. Faeli has called Scruffy's bluff. Said, okay, you do have level up. Sure, I'll stop that Tarim. And now Scruffy's turn is, what, summoned 6 1/1s?
Yeah, some more of those things. They look good.
Okay, 4 1/1s. That's enough.
Wonder if he'll Avenging Wrath here instead of Consecration.
Ooh, I love
No, because he can Consecration make a blood cell, so he won't do that.
Is that actually that good, though?
It's not great, but
They can Equality Avenging Wrath later, I guess. But that doesn't...
Oh.
But if Scruffy creates a board full of 3/3s, Equality Avenging Wrath is not as good as Consecration.
Yeah.
Equality. Okay, no, he goes with your play. I don't mind it. If all Scruffy had now were some 1/1s, then this would manage that nicely.
It's the good ball.
Ooh. That's one of the good moves.
Sounds like a really bad shopping show.
Reporting for duty.
It's not the Divine Shield move. That's I'd maybe even argue the best one. But here, seems pretty good. Now Faeli has to play Avenging Wrath.
Yes, he does. I was trying not to wait until he picked it up there. I was just trying to find any alternative. No, there's no alternative. Because level up just destroys you.
There you go, that's the lot. That Equality isn't going to do much anymore, though.
And now Lich King's there. This is what I was saying earlier. He needs to get to the Lich King on 8 if he can in front. He's still on 25.
Oh, it's just Hero Power Tarim here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Faeli's health total is looking nice. Now Tarim has been played as well perfectly just before he was considering, or just before he was able to play the Lich King. He could do that. He could now play Blessing of Kings with Glass Knight.
That just looks lovely, doesn't it?
Isn't
now?
it great?
The numbers add up so nicely.
He doesn't have anything that beats level up, so there's no reason really to play around that. I guess he could go Equality and then play the Glass Knight and Amani Berserker. That's the other play he could consider. I think I prefer Blessing of Kings Glass Knight, though.
Yeah, Blessing of Kings is like doing the same job as the Equality whilst not actually using your Equality. Because it only destroys 1 minion.
Yeah.
And Glass Knight's just tasty against 3/3s.
Both the Faeli's minions value trade against both of Scruffy's minions.
And it's decision time for Scruffy because he's got to win the race fairly soon. He's got Leroy and the Blessing of Might, so he's got to find a way to get to that face, but he knows that these trades are so terrible for him next turn that going face just doesn't seem possible. So how can he find a way to get into that face? I don't think he can. Can he force Faeli to make the trades, basically, is what I'm trying to say in a very convoluted way.
Got 15 damage this turn if he wanted it, but wow, he's gonna have to make the trades.
Oh, this just feels absolutely rotten.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Your opponent's got a deck full of buffs and Tarims and goodness knows what, and you've got 2 3/3s and no Leroy burst.
The battle.
Ooh. Oh my goodness, the Glass Knight's going to get his Divine Shield back.
Okay, this is what this deck is supposed to do.
This is also fine, yeah.
It doesn't work out often, the Glass Knight synergy, but it's looking like...
I mean, it doesn't need to do it very often. If it does it once,
that's good.
That's game winning in a lot of situations.
Second Blessing of Might.
Super.
Doesn't change that much, though.
Army of the Dead's probably pretty good in Even Paladin. There's quite a few spells and buffs, but there's a lot of decent minions.
There are some awkward minions like Sour Knight Chain Gang, but a lot of the minions are fine. If you get like Wind Fury Harpy, whatever.
My instinct here just says to equality, trade off and play Army of the Dead. That might be just not even needed. He's got the Corpse Taker now, so that's even better.
I think Corpse Taker's better now, yeah.
Because you haven't got your Wind Fury dude yet.
No, nor the Crystalsmith Kangor, so it's got Lifesteal as well. He could go he could go True Silver, trade that and the Glass Knight into Baku, and just play Corpse Taker.
Yeah, here come all the things.
Winter is here.
Oh, sure. He could just fit in equality as well if he wants and do this. I liked the idea of giving the Glass Knight the Divine Shield and then trading the Glass Knight in, because he's still got the Corpse Taker with Taunt and Divine Shield to back up the Glass Knight, just give it the Divine Shield back again. Either way, I'm really nitpicking here. It looks like Faeli is just about going to get this series.
Yeah, this matchup feels like that to me, but when I said at the start I thought it was favoured, this is how I feel it goes a lot, is that the odd Paladin does get the board and you kind of scramble to deal with it and get in a bit of a mess, but you always seem to come out the other one. You often seem to come out of the mess in a good position. And Faeli takes it down. He is very pleased about that. That's pretty exciting series, especially that game number 4 with the Paladin versus the Warlock.
I'd be pleased about that one too if I was Faeli. It was really looking rough at one point there.